go and run some errands that I've been putting off, I feel like, for a while now. I think I mentioned in one of my last videos that I needed to go and pick up my new residency permit. It arrived like over a month ago, but I missed the appointment because I was in a course all day at work. So I'm gonna do that today, given that I have the day off work. It's Friday today, and you guys can come around on a little weekend with me. So I'm gonna try to get as much as I can done today in terms of admin stuff and just random errands that I've been putting off. And yeah, then I want to go to the gym. I want to tidy up around the house a little bit, even though the cleaner is coming on Monday. So I'll just do like a quick sweep over the house. I kind of, yeah, like to do that when I can. Usually it's the weekend, but given that it's Friday and I have today off, I'll probably do that as well today. Yeah, come along with me. While we're at it, before we head out, I thought I might do a little OOTD. So what am I wearing today? I'm wearing this little linen set that I got from Uniqlo actually at the end of last year, right before I went back to Australia. And this is like a cute little spring sort of summer fit. So this is a little shirt and matching pants set that definitely needs a steam, but for today I'm not worried about it. This jacket is really cool. It's like a short trench coat, as you guys can see. And I got this at, I feel like also in my last video I was like talking about how many things that I got from the Milan vintage market, but this is actually from one of my favorite vintage stores in Milan, and I picked it up for, it was like less than 10 euros I think. So yeah, love it. It definitely needs a dry clean. It's starting to smell a bit funky. But yeah, this is the outfit of the day, and I've got my Massimo Dutti ballet flats on because they have been, yeah, my absolute favorite shoes as of late. So let's go get this residency permit, the famous permit that I have been putting off going to get for a month, over a month now. So let's do that, and you guys can come along for the journey. I have to say, these past couple of days, or this whole week actually, has been a kind of string of unfortunate events, I should say. I don't want to complain too much because, I mean, there's worse things that can happen in the world, but yesterday was meant to be my holidays, as you guys know, as I said also in my previous video. I've been on holidays since Monday, and I mean since last Thursday actually. I've been on holidays, so I took last Thursday, Friday, and then Monday, Tuesday off. And Wednesday was like a national holiday, so everyone took that off work as well. I didn't realise because I had originally put all of my holidays in December, and then it didn't get approved, and so I had to move some days. I had to move some days to now, basically. I was just saying that I showed up to work yesterday, and sorry, let's stop on the street. I showed up to the office yesterday and just started working like normal. I was there at 9, working till about 11, and then I get this message from my colleague in a group chat where there's also my boss in this chat, and I reply, I say, oh, welcome back to the office and everything, and she kind of, my boss messaged me in private after I'd responded to this message, and she just goes, but you came back today? And I was so sure that I did, and I replied just being like, yeah, I'm here today and tomorrow, like yesterday and today. And she replied saying like, but from the holiday plan, is it like this? And then I went back and checked my holiday plan, and I'd taken Thursday and Friday off work as well, and didn't realise, like, I don't know, I just completely forgot that I'd taken those days. And so she just told me to go home. So yesterday, a wasted morning. I probably won't get that day back. I'm gonna try to, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to. So yeah, went to work yesterday on my day off, so that was fun. And then this morning, because I think I told you I missed my appointment in March, at the end of March, to get my new residency permit. And so I went to the Questura today to go and pick it up, because I had to go pick it up. It was still it was still there obviously. So I went today. I was like, oh, I'll just get it out of the way today, even though it's my holidays. I just want to get it over and done with, because it's been there for, I mean, it's been over a month now since it's been there, so I just wanted to kind of go and pick that up and get it out of the way today. So I'm going in the shade, so my lens is dirty. Anyway, went to go and pick it up, and keep in mind this place is like 1 hour away from where I live, so got on my jolly old way, got the bus, 2 buses mind you. First bus, changed, got the second bus, got there 1 hour later. I walk in, I say, oh, I'm just here to pick up my residency permit, and first thing he says to me is, oh, we only give them out on Wednesdays, you have to come back on Wednesday. So another morning wasted, unfortunately. So that was, yeah, 2 hours out of my morning on Friday that I've just lost again, but that's alright. We look at the bright side. I'm heading home now. I think I'm going to stop off at Pam on the way home and just get like a big bottle of water and something to eat for lunch. I don't know what I feel like. I've been having pasta a lot lately, but yeah, I think probably this afternoon I'll try to go to the gym, just because it's been a few days since I've been and kind of want to get a little workout in. But yeah, I'll get home and I'll catch up with you guys a little bit later. Also, I'm just walking and I saw this house, and look at the lemon tree. They have a little lemon thing on their balcony. Wow. This is only what I can aspire to have in my life. I just got home and I was literally in pain from needing to pee so bad since I left the house to go there. It took me 1 hour to arrive, as I was saying, and then got there only to be told that I can't pick it up today, and so I went an hour back. There was obviously no bathroom that I could use there, so I even took a detour so I could film a little portion of this video while I was walking, because yeah, I want to start filming a little bit more around the city. I feel like I'm always in my house when I make videos and it's a little bit boring. I want you guys to see a little bit of the city and yeah, come along with me a little bit. But I think now what am I gonna do? I did plan to go to the gym today, but I think I'm gonna go a little bit later. I have a call to make, very important call, and I'm gonna make some lunch. I bought like some stuff, like a plain focaccia. It's integrale, like whole wheat focaccia. I bought some fresh tomatoes. I bought some pesto, so I'm gonna do a little pesto tomato, put some balsamic vinegar, like a little bit, kind of like a bruschetta. I was about to say bruschetta, and I was like, Kaija, stop the Australian in yourself. I remember when I worked in an Italian restaurant, and the owners were Italian, and I used to talk to them sometimes, especially the old man who was kind of like the big boss, I would say. And we often used to have conversations sometimes, and he would say certain words in Italian. He gave me a nickname and everything. He used to call me Gigi. And I remember whenever a pizza would come out of the oven, he would be like, okay, pizza. And so that's when we would know that all of the pizzas had to come out of the oven and then were ready to be cut and served to the customers. And obviously we did bruschetta there, but I remember there were a couple of times where I accidentally called it bruschetta. And I mean, I'm from Australia. We don't have, you know, we're a bit lazy with our pronunciation, let's say, but he always used to correct me, and that just came to my mind just then, that thought. So it's about 7:30 p.m. I wanted to do something a little bit fun. So I poured myself a little glass of wine. It's Friday night, and I wanted to answer some questions. I wanted to do a little like sort of truth or myth regarding the fashion industry and working in the fashion industry, because I thought that would be fun. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there who are curious about working in fashion. I get messages from you sometimes on Instagram asking questions on, you know, how to get a job and everything, and that a lot of you are looking for jobs similar to mine or internships in the fashion industry, so I thought it could be interesting, sort of debunking or affirming some of these myths. I've just found a little article online, and I thought I would just read out some of them and give my feedback. Fashion industry myth. Fashion is a superficial and fun world. I definitely wouldn't say it's superficial. Of course, I think there are people that can view it that way and have that kind of perspective and talk about it in a sort of superficial way. But I feel like that's kind of like anything really. I mean, any kind of industry, you could be superficial about it, or you could be very passionate about it for a specific reason. For example, for me, like the reason why I love the industry, I mean, of course it has its flaws, it's not perfect just like any other industry, but for me, fashion, it's not necessarily just about clothing, it's how that clothing makes you feel. It's about the art that's created by these designers that changed, you know, it changed their lives, it changed people's lives, and it changes the way you feel when you get dressed in the morning. And I think that's something that's really important, especially when it comes to confidence in the world, how you present yourself. So yeah, that's my response on that. In terms of the fun aspect, I feel like a lot of people can view the fashion industry as kind of just like a stupid job, like you don't really work at all. People from the outside, I mean anyone who works in the fashion industry knows that it's very hard work. No matter what department you're in, you get worked really hard, and especially given that it's an industry that has jobs that are so high in demand, and it is quite difficult to get a job in the fashion industry. I feel like there is a lot of demand placed on the employees, given that, you know, it's such a big industry, and especially in Milan, given that a lot of the headquarters are here. I chose to work here because I wanted to work on a sort of global scale, and I get the opportunity to do that in Milan. So there's definitely always something happening. You really have to have a good work ethic behind you, and it's definitely not superficial and fun all the time. I mean, there's definitely fun aspects of the job, like when I get to go to shootings, or we launch a new collection, when there's the fashion show, you know, there's all those kind of fun things that are kind of a novelty. But then at the same time, you need to be prepared to work really hard, and you need to be prepared to prove yourself, because at the beginning, of course, you're going to be starting, usually all of the time, I would say, in the fashion industry, with internships that of course don't pay very much, or don't pay at all in the case of Australia, for example, when I was doing internships while I was studying. So I think that's definitely a myth. Myth number 2, everyone attends fashion shows. So I'm going to tell you guys right now, I've worked in the fashion industry for how long? In Milan, I've worked in the fashion industry for 3 years, and unfortunately I've never been to an actual fashion show. I unfortunately didn't get to go to the Versace one when I was working there, because it was just limited to the super creative teams that actually had sort of a more active role in planning and organizing the show, and of course like the PR and events teams and stuff as well. And in my current job, unfortunately, last year I would have definitely had the opportunity to go, but unfortunately that day it was a super last minute decision that our team got to go to the fashion show, and I was working from home that day. And so given that it was super last minute, and obviously I was at home, I wasn't in the office, I was one of the only ones in my team who didn't get to go simply because I wasn't in the office that day, that sucked. I was a bit bummed about that. And then this year, unfortunately, I didn't get to go either, given that it was limited strictly to, yeah, the creative teams and the PR and events team, and of course like the VIPs, given that they have a lot of guests a lot of the time. The brand brings guests, celebrities, VIPs and things like that to the shows, so there's very limited seating a lot of the time. So yeah, that was unfortunate, but I would definitely
love to go. The fashion show, the next fashion show will be Men's Fashion Week in June, and it will be the Spring Summer 25 fashion show, which it's always so crazy to think about how far ahead we work in the fashion industry. I feel like right now we're thinking about fall into 24, but it's been like that since the collection week that we had at the end of last year. Like in December, we're already talking about products that we're going to be launching in August of this year. So I feel like you're always working so far in advance that you feel like time, I don't know, there's a strange concept of time when you're working in the fashion industry, I would say. So unfortunately, it's a myth that no, not everyone attends fashion shows, but I'm hopeful that this year I will. Fashion myth number 3. Fashion professionals wear designer clothes all the time. I remember thinking back, and this is a funny one, because thinking back to my first internship when I was interning at Vogue in Sydney, which was my first ever fashion internship and job experience in the fashion industry. And I remember in the video that I made about that internship from McDonald's to Vogue, it's called. If you haven't seen it, definitely go back and watch that. It's one of my favorite videos to date. But I remember on my first day specifically noticing how well everyone was dressed and how amazing everyone's clothes were. And I think, of course, at the time I was 17 or 18, so I didn't have anything really nice. I mean, I've always been interested and had an eye for fashion, but of course, like, I was working casually. It's not that I had so much money to buy really nice designer pieces, even though I may have wanted to. It helped me to see the difference between fashion and style, and I feel like it's taken me years as well to come into my own style and finding my own personal style. I feel like it's a lot of trial and error. I was watching a video about this just yesterday, actually, about coming into your own personal style and how it sort of happens over a number of years, and after trying out different things and going out of the house in specific outfits and realizing you don't feel comfortable in something, and realizing that that specific piece or that specific outfit isn't really you and isn't really what makes you feel at your best. So it's definitely taken me a while, but I feel like especially this year and in the past, yeah, probably a year or so, I've really come into my own personal style, and I think that's definitely thanks to a lot of trial and error. Fashion industry myth. The next myth I'm going to read out, and I'm going to do 2 more because I feel like this video is getting quite long. Everyone working in fashion has a fashion degree. I will say straight out, I didn't study fashion. I didn't study anything to do with fashion, actually. And I know a lot of people, I mean, since moving to Milan, a lot of people go to schools like Marangoni or YED, or that's the main one, is Marangoni, really. And it's quite a prestigious school for different fashion degrees, like fashion business, fashion design, and things like that. Of course, if you want to be a fashion designer, or if you have a specific thing in mind that you definitely want to do and you definitely want to educate yourself about, it can be beneficial for you. But for me, I didn't really know exactly which field I wanted to go in. I wanted to keep my options a little bit more open, I suppose, even though going into university, even before I started my university degree, growing up, I sort of always knew that I wanted to work in the fashion industry. But as I said, I didn't really know which field. And so for me, it didn't really make sense to choose a specific fashion degree or study at a specific fashion college or fashion school. So I didn't, and I know a lot of people who also didn't. Depending on what kind of field you want to go into, if you want to, for example, work in PR, fashion PR, you can study, for example, PR instead of going to a fashion school and studying something specific. It can be really helpful because then you have that degree forever. You can use it for multiple things, even if you decide that working in the fashion industry isn't what you intended necessarily for your life, or isn't necessarily what you wanted to stay in. You can always change industries and it's fine. or e-commerce, for example. I've said in previous videos that it can be really useful to study something like business or economics, or even communications like I studied. And the reason that I chose that degree was because for that exact reason, I wasn't exactly 100% sure what I wanted to go into. Even though I knew roughly, you know, what I wanted to do, I didn't have a specific idea in mind of where I would end up. So I would say that's definitely a myth. I don't think most people who work in the fashion industry actually have a fashion degree. The last one I'm going to read out is, I can't get a job in fashion because I don't have experience. I would say to that immediately, starting out, no one has experience, right? I mean, you can have a fashion degree, but I feel like more and more, and some people would disagree with me on this, but more and more I think that, and of course this depends on the job. For example, if you want to be a doctor, if you want to be a lawyer, if you want to be a psychologist, of course university and studying something specific can really be beneficial. But I feel like if you want to work in fashion, if you want to work in that kind of industry where it's kind of a little bit more lucrative, it's definitely competitive, but I don't think so much that they look at fashion degrees when they're hiring. They more look at, of course, experience, which going into it no one has. So I feel like you're pretty safe there. But internships really are your savior, and I will say this till I go blue in the face. Since I started university, I have always had in the back of my mind to start a new internship every year and get really as much experience as I can while I'm at university, because this is what really helped me not only gain knowledge of the industry, but also get to know people who work in the industry, understand, you know, their journey and what they're passionate about and the direction that they went in. Because my first internship, actually it wasn't my first one, it was my second or third in Sydney. The founder of this fashion label that I was interning at, she studied marketing, for example. So things like that are more broad can always be beneficial. I mean, these kind of degrees you can use for so many things. And of course, if you're working in a small startup company, even if you want to start your own company, for example, having knowledge about marketing, about numbers, about business, about that kind of world can be useful in anything in life. So I would definitely say that. Internships, at least the ones that I did in Australia, were all unpaid. So of course, you know, fashion companies, magazines, PR agencies are always looking for the extra help, and you can really use this to your advantage, because especially when you're studying, and I did this too, is I would go in, for example, like 2 days a week or 1 day a week sometimes, and you get a taste of it. You get to know people who work in the industry. You get to understand the way everything works, especially if it's a smaller company, which I really loved that I interned in some, you know, of course Vogue was my first internship, and that was a very, very big company. But I also worked in some startups. I also got exposed to the world of working in a startup, and of course you get to see so many different things. You get to see a lot of different processes, uploading product, you get writing copy, you get picking and packing orders, you get literally, this one day we went to the post office with a huge sack full of packages, and it was so funny. I'll never forget it. We were waiting at the post office, in the post office line for like an hour and a half, waiting to deliver these packages. It was hilarious. But yeah, I mean, working in a small kind of startup company can really help you to get more exposure to the world and the industry that you want to work in. So definitely don't get disheartened just because you don't have any specific experience. I mean, everyone is always looking for passionate people, people with a strong work ethic and drive to succeed. Sorry, the sirens. This is just the soundtrack of Milan at this point, isn't it? No, but don't get disheartened about the experience thing. I mean, just show that you're determined, show that you're passionate, and the right people will see that and give you the opportunity. And at the end of the day, it only takes one person to believe in you and to give you that opportunity, and that's exactly how it happened for me. So yeah, let that give you hope. But anyway, I'm gonna end this video here. I want to thank you guys again so much for watching, and definitely subscribe if you haven't already. I would really appreciate it. And I will see you very soon in my next video.